What's up, guys? It's Red Rocket back again with some more Daily Wire drama. And today we have a video of Brett Cooper finally actually taking the red pill, I think. Thank God the Daily Wire at least has Brett Cooper looking into this red pill stuff, because everyone else at the Daily Wire who has looked into it has done a horrible job so far and has come to completely incorrect conclusions, in my opinion. Brett Cooper is so far the closest one to actually, discovering the entire point of the argument. She's so close. She's almost there, guys, okay? Like she's trying to take the red pill.
I am so sick and tired of just everything right now. Everyone is so quick to say, stop doing this, stop thinking like this, stop telling me I'm wrong.
That's just a bad start. But we're not going to discredit her yet, guys. And I know a lot of people do. They just watch the first few seconds. They go, never mind. We have to keep watching.
I have literally convinced myself at this point, based on everything that everyone's telling me, my therapist, my family, my friends, that I'm just doing everything wrong. I'm healing wrong. I'm thinking wrong. I'm training wrong. I'm doing relationships wrong. Everything I do is wrong. And I'm so sick of it. Stop comparing. It's not even about comparison. Like, I genuinely just want love in my life so badly. I feel like I have done so much work on myself. I have built a beautiful life for myself. I'm happy. Am I just supposed to be alone? Like, is that the message? That this beautiful life I've built for myself, like, it's just supposed to be me in it alone?
And this is heartbreaking for a myriad of reasons. And again, I think people are very quick to tear people down on social media and make fun of people without watching the entire video and having some empathy.
Empathy? Why should I have empathy for her? Like, what? This is the problem with women. When they try and solve a logical problem, they come at it from the perspective of feelings, emotions, and empathy. Well, you can't solve a problem with empathy that is a logical problem, okay? The only problems that empathy can solve are emotional problems, okay? And if she can't find a husband, that is not an emotional problem. That is a logical problem. So having empathy solves absolutely nothing if you actually want to help her. Because if we want to actually, have some empathy for her, first we need to actually see her take some accountability and some self-responsibility for the actions and the decisions and choices that she has made in her life. Because think about it, all right? Typically the people who give you the best advice on, well, maybe not the best, but they typically are the people who give you the most advice, are typically your closest friends, family, relatives, a therapist if you have one. And she literally said to all of those people who were trying to help her solve her problem, she literally told them to shut up, that she does not want you to tell her that she is wrong. Like, she's literally in denial of the decisions that she made that caused the situation that she's in. It's like she doesn't understand cause and effect, okay? Like, it's very quite simple. You make an action, and then there is something that is affected by your action and may not happen directly because of your action, but does happen indirectly because of the action that you chose. And maybe once she takes some accountability for her decisions and her actions and everything that led her to this point in her life, maybe then I'll have some empathy for her. But until she does that, I see no reason I should have empathy for someone who is in literal denial for the reason that they're in the situation that they're in. And now to get to some anecdotal evidence of, well, she's actually the same age as me. And, what do you think was going on when both of us were 22 or 23? Because at 23 was when I decided I wanted to be married. Like, I guarantee you, if I ran into that girl and actually shot an honest shot at her, trying to, get on a date with her, I don't think she even would have given me the time of day. Look at the type of woman that she is. She's got a face full of makeup. She's in a car with a sunroof. It's kind of hard to tell what type of car it is. That could very well be fake leather seats. Could very well be real leather. I don't know how to tell the difference just by looking at it, from the little glance that I get from under her elbow. But from my experience, back when I was, 23 years old and actually looking for a wife, I talked to many women that were very similar to the type of woman that she was, but, they all had one reason or another to look down on me, whether it was because they made more money than me, or because they were more popular than I was, or it was because they drove a nicer car than I did. Whatever the reason was, these type of women would never give a guy like me the time of day, because they would always come at me with, well, why don't you have your own house? Why aren't you making six figures? Why don't you drive a BMW or a Mercedes? And I'd just be like, because I'm, 23, like I haven't gotten life figured out that much yet. Like, hold on a minute, maybe I'll get there when I'm 30. But the women like that, from my experience, never even wanted to hear that. They viewed that as like a BS excuse. If you said that was woman repellent. All of a sudden, she just like grabbed her purse, walked up, and left the date. Yeah, I literally once had a girl leave a date because she found out that I dropped out of college. And I just laughed, and I'm like, like I still like went to classes after I dropped out. And like, I still, like basically, I only went to the classes I wanted to go to that I was interested in. And she still looked at me like I was stupider than her, even though she had a 2-year degree. And I'm like, you've barely done more college than me. Like, come on.
All of my friends have their fiancés and their boyfriends and their husbands that they prioritize. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I've been left behind.
And that's a key thing we're going to talk about later, that they are prioritizing that and they have prioritized that. That's not a bad thing. Obviously, it sucks to feel like you are, being left behind, like you are not at the same level that they are. You haven't reached that point in your life and you feel like they have other things that are going on. But the fact that they have prioritized that is a good thing and is probably why they are in those situations.
Thank you, Brett Cooper, for calling it what it is. That is exactly why she is in the situation that she is in, is because she prioritized the things that she wanted, which were not having a husband, because if she prioritized that, she would have a husband, just like her friends that she says that prioritize it. And she quite clearly makes it obvious she did not prioritize that in her life. Like, if you prioritize building a career, then you're not going to have much time for, like dating and finding a husband.
I know that people are making fun of this girl, but like I said, I can feel the genuine pain and frustration coming through my screen. I mean, this woman is 29. She's at her wit's end. Now, the guy who originally posted this on X said, why are so many 29-year-old girl bosses from TikTok having public meltdowns about failing to find a man? And a lot of critiques in this comment section were the same, because in the video from the get-go, it was all about her. It was all about what she wants. A lot of the language was me, I. Like somebody said, I, me, my. And then the kicker, all of my friends have their partners that they prioritize and I am being left behind. And finishes with more I, me, my. She is so close and yet so far. Zuby, who I adore, said, I don't like dunking on random women online, but within the first 10 to 30 seconds of most of these videos, they already reveal traits and behaviors that are off-putting to lots of decent men.
Yeah, and that's the funniest part about these clips about these women is they come to you with this problem, but then within like 30 seconds of listening to them and their problem, you can already find reasons why they're having the problem. So the issue is not that nobody has tried telling these women what their problem is. The problem is these women don't want to listen to the people who are telling them they have a problem. Because as she literally said in the video, she doesn't want people telling her she's wrong. She literally tells those people to shut up. And if she's willing to tell that to people like her family and her therapist, who are genuinely trying to help her, like the therapist is literally being paid to help her, well, it's like, no wonder you're in the position that you're in, because you can't do any self-reflection and you can't do any problem solving, because you're just stuck in the mindset of, well, what I'm doing has to be right and I'm not going to change my actions. And that is quite literally the definition of insanity, because the definition of insanity is repeating the same actions and expecting a different result. Well, she quite literally keeps repeating the same actions, and then she's frustrated when she's not getting a different result. That is insanity. This woman belongs in a mental institution, because I'd be willing to bet if you sat her down and explained this out to her word for word, just like in very simple, plain English, and once she finally understood what you were trying to convey to her, she would deny it all, just like she denied it in the video.
Now, to be fair, objectively, the girls on X are right about the men exiting the dating pool. Men are choosing not to date, and let me tell you, I understand completely because dating is a mess out there. They're choosing not to date because of their terrible experiences with bad women and feminism on a whole and how that has just completely screwed up society. But we have to be honest, that choice is impacting the good women who are still out there. Women who I know, who are my friends, who are wonderful and who I adore and who I want to find love and are struggling because the people that they see on apps, even people in their churches, are either already married, not interested in dating, or there just aren't men there to begin with. Like, this is not a black and white situation, and there are hearts involved, which makes it even more complicated. Like, I'm telling you, Reagan and I are sitting here in this room. We have counted off 10, 11 of our closest friends, like people that we consider very close, that are women, that are ready for marriage, that are looking for a man. And we ask each other all the time, like, do we know guys? We know guys? I know guys. Are they ready? No. Are they interested? No. They're not intentionally going out to try to, I mean, it is infuriating. And I understand why this has happened, but the result is heartbreaking.
Yeah, these are the types of women that I actually do have sympathy for, because I do feel bad for them, because, you know, like they're living in a society that feminists have created, yet they are the type of women that are the exact opposite of the type of women or the type of people that can survive in a feminist type of society. Because we're past the day and age of men approaching women. Like, that is long gone. Chivalry has been dead for a decade, guys. And feminism killed it. And all the guys are standing around going, oh, wow, look, chivalry died. And all the feminists march up and go, pointing at the men saying, look, all the men killed chivalry. When it's like, well, actually, ladies, it was the feminism that killed it. But that's beside the point. That's a topic of conversation for another day. Because the real issue at hand is that men like me, who are in this age category, who are single and available, and I would prefer to be married, the problem is that we have been burned by so many women that we don't want to even interact with them anymore. Like, I could be perfectly happy not talking to another woman for the rest of my life. At the same time, I would prefer to be married, and I would like to have a family one day, but I have the option of putting that off for 10, 20, 30 years if I so choose. And I spent about 10 years dating women, and I think I'm going to need at least 10 years off of dating women before I even consider putting myself back into the dating game. And not only that, one of the bigger issues at hand here is really the society that we have created for ourselves here, which is probably the cause for most men stepping away from dating. I know this is definitely going to keep me away from it if things continue on the way that they are, simply because of the way that women can abuse the justice system to essentially rob a man of his money and resources. Like, I will never be legally married in my entire life, even though I'm perfectly fine with being religiously married. And I know Mr. Michael Knowles would probably call me gay for that, but I actually have very legitimate and logical reasons for not doing that. And I don't think it's gay in any way to say I want to be married, but I don't want to have my marriage be a three-way with the government. If anything, letting the government in on my marriage, in my opinion, would be gay, rather than, you know, saying, oh, I'd want to keep the government out of my marriage. If you honestly expect men to start approaching women again, then you need to convince men that their personal safety and their financial safety and their freedom as a human being is worth less than finding a woman. Because in today's current state of society, it's statistically very likely for a man to be put in a very bad situation when he gets legally married to a woman. 50% of all marriages end in divorce, and 70% of those divorces are filed by women. Now, the scary part about that statistic is that that includes old people. If you cap the age limit at 35 years old, I think it's something like 80 or 90% of all marriages end in divorce. So, you know, depending on the age group of person that you're marrying into, really depends on statistically how likely that marriage is to last. So for people my age, age 35 and under, the average length of a marriage is 7 to 8 years, okay? Till death do us part, or till 7 or 8 years later, and I decide to divorce you. Because apparently till death do us part means nothing anymore. You know, with the way that everything's set up right now, it's Like, especially with how a woman can falsely accuse you of something and completely ruin your life, ruin your reputation. You'll lose your job, you'll lose your friends, you'll lose your family, all because she made up a lie about you. Like this is why you need to convince men that their personal safety, their financial safety, and their freedom is less important than having a wife and a family. Because this is quite literally the risk that you're asking men to take by simply just engaging with a woman in a romantic manner. Because even if we were to take away every single one of the legal incentives to not get married, and we were to completely like even that playing field and make it a perfect world where everything was fair, well, you still then have to convince men that the women are worth marrying, because a man isn't going to want to marry a woman who doesn't provide any of the wifely qualities that he wants out of a wife. Just like a woman isn't going to want to marry a man that doesn't have any of the husband qualities that she wants. And a real issue is that there is a severe lack of women with moral integrity that can bring to the table the qualities in a woman that a man would want. The only thing that the women of my generation bring to the table is their physical attractiveness and their sexuality. If you ask her what else she brings to the table besides that, they get very offended very quickly. And that's because they know that that is all that they have and there is nothing else to them. Their personality is horrible. Their habits are terrible. They act like a child, like a petulant child. They're constantly whining, nagging, complaining. Nothing is ever good enough for them. And it's just like, you're just a headache, woman. Like, I don't want to deal with a headache. I don't want to come home from a hard day of work to deal with a woman who gives me a headache. I'd rather be alone and have my peace than deal with that. I know there's good women out there, okay? I've met them. The problem is they're all married. I can't find any single good women out there that don't exhibit all of these negative qualities, because every single woman that I have gone on a date with or that I have dated has had at minimum 3 of the negative qualities that I've previously mentioned. And the worst part is a lot of the times they'll hide it from you, so you won't even know that they have these negative qualities until months after dating them. Like it won't be until after they're convinced that they've locked you down to where you can't leave them, then they'll show you their true selves. Which is why men, the average years of dating before men propose to women has been steadily increasing over the years. I think now the average is 3.5 years of dating before marriage, when like just a couple years ago it was like 2 years was the average. So yeah, men are purposely making the dating period last longer to try and weed out the types of women who are, faking things, because you can only fake it for so long. Yeah, guys, that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know down in the comments what you think. Is Brett Cooper actually taking the red pill, or am I just hallucinating here? And I just want her to take the red pill so bad that I'm literally like scrounging at any scrap of evidence that I can come to that will prove that she's trying to take the red pill. Like, am I just delusional here, or is she actually taking the red pill? I don't know. This was actually a very good video by her. I watched the whole thing all the way through. Highly recommend it if you enjoy her content. So if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. While you're down there, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to follow me on Rumble as well.